To work is trabajar, trabajar, T-R-A-B-A-J-A-R, trabajar. How would you say I work in Manchester? Trabajo en Manchester. Trabajo en Manchester. To say I did something, so to talk about the past, you need to remember these two sounds, e and e. E, e. So e, e. It's going to help you to get into the past. If it's an AR verb, then the last sound is e. And if it's not an AR verb, so if it's an ER verb or an IR verb, it's E. So I talked or I spoke is hablé, hablé, E with an accent. And I ate is comí, comí, ended in I with an accent. So E and E. So what would it be for I worked? I worked. Trabajé, trabajé. How would you say I spoke with John yesterday? I spoke with John yesterday. And yesterday is ayer. Ayer, A-Y-E-R. So I spoke with John yesterday would be hablé con John ayer. Hablé con John ayer. How would you say I went out yesterday? I went out yesterday. And don't try and think of the word to go, but think of the word to go out, salir, and then put it into the past. So I went out yesterday would be salí ayer. Salí ayer. How would you say I didn't eat yesterday? I didn't eat yesterday. No comí ayer. No comí ayer. And what about I drank it? Lo bebí. Lo bebí. The word for to call is llamar. Llamar. Double L-A-M-A-R. Llamar, to call. How would you say I'm going to call? Voy a llamar. Voy a llamar. How would we say you call in the present? You call. Llamas. Llamas. I call. Llamo. Llamo. I called. Llamé. Llamé. Now we know that to call you would be llamarte. Llamarte. But if we want to say I call you, then we say te llamo. Te llamo. In the same way as we would with it. So like I have it would be lo tengo. I have you would be te tengo. And I call you te llamo. Incidentally, if you want to say I call myself, we would say me llamo. And that's how in Spanish they say my name is. I call myself me llamo. Me llamo, and then your name, I call myself. So how would we say I call you a lot? I call you a lot. Te llamo mucho. Te llamo mucho. What about I called you yesterday? Te llamé ayer. Te llamé ayer. What about I called him because I needed something? And to need is necesitar. 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 Necesitar, to need. So I called him because I needed something. Le llamé porque necesité algo. Le llamé porque necesité algo. I found would be encontré. So encontrar, to find. I found, encontré, with an accent at the end. And all of those verbs that change in the middle, in the present, like encuentro and vuelvo, all those ones that get stressed out and collapse, they only change in the present and not in the past. And the reason is because there's no stress on those letters. There's no stress on the middle O anymore, because all the stress is on the E with the accent. So there's no change in the middle there. So I found is encontré. I returned would be volví. How would you say I found an expensive ring yesterday? I found an expensive ring yesterday. And the word for ring is anillo. Anillo. A-N-I-L-L-O. Anillo. Incidentally, Lord of the Rings is El Señor de los Anillos. How would you say I found an expensive ring yesterday then? Encontré un anillo caro ayer. Encontré un anillo caro ayer. How would you say I found a fast car? Encontré un coche rápido. Encontré un coche rápido. How would you say, I thought that I called you yesterday. I thought that I called you yesterday. Pensé que te llamé ayer. So, to think is pensar, and in the past, remember there's no change, there's no stress making it split. So it would just be pensé, I thought. Pensé que I called you. Te llamé ayer. Pensé que te llamé ayer. How would you say, I came back quite late? I returned quite late. And quite is bastante, bastante. B-A-S-T-A-N-T-E, bastante, quite. So I came back, I returned quite late. Volví bastante tarde. Volví bastante tarde. There are some irregulars in the past, some irregular verbs. And let's remember these two. If you want to say I could and I had, or let's do it the other way around, I had and I could, it's tuve and pude. Tuve, pude. So tuve, you know that's going to be the I had one, because it begins with a T. And pude, I could. So tuve, pude, tuve, pude. And tuve is spelled T-U-V-E, and pude is P-U-D-E. And neither of them have accents. So normally the past has an accent at the end for I, but for these two irregulars, there's no accent. Tuve, pude. I had, I could. How would you say, I had it yesterday? Lo tuve ayer. Lo tuve ayer. How would you say, I had to come back, or I had to return, because I couldn't find it? I had to return because I couldn't find it. Tuve que volver porque no pude encontrarlo. Tuve que volver porque no pude encontrarlo. How would you say, I couldn't go out yesterday because I had the flu? I couldn't go out yesterday because I had the flu. And the flu is la gripe, gripe. And gripe is spelt like gripe, G-R-I-P-E. So I had the gripe, la gripe, the flu. So the sentence is, I couldn't go out yesterday because I had the flu. No pude salir ayer porque tuve la gripe. No pude salir ayer porque tuve la gripe. How would you say, I couldn't remember it? I couldn't remember it. No pude recordarlo. No pude recordarlo.